I absolutely love the Great Falls community. I mean, from the moment I moved here, I fell in love with it.
It matters, right? People matter here to each other on a personal level, and I've just never experienced anything like it.
The cost of living is very good here, and if all the people that graduated with me or around me would all agree to come back and pursue their dreams here, if it doesn't exist, they absolutely could make it happen here. And that's so unique to most communities that are well established with a ton of people already living here. So I think there's just a lot of potential for Great Falls to be able to be a platform for people to fulfill their dreams.
I think there's a lot of good up-and-coming businesses and things like that around Great Falls that are kind of realizing that, hey, we do have a younger population here and we need to kind of cater to them.
I would say the greatest thing about being a young person in Great Falls is it is in some ways, a lot of ways, it's still kind of a blank canvas. Great Falls is kind of growing and just getting its feet under itself from the mid-2000s to today, where the economy's changing, it's growing. We obviously need a lot more humans here, which would help with that growth a good bit. But there's great companies doing amazing things, and they need young, talented people. And if you're a young person in Great Falls, it's what you want to make it.
So when I had moved back to Great Falls, I actually was not aware of a lot of the issues that were going on. So that was a big eye-opener, working with Child and Family Services and then switching over to probation and parole. So that was a big eye-opener for me. A lot of the same clientele, but a lot of the same issues, drugs and alcohol, a lot of crimes here in Great Falls. What is most challenging, I would say, is a lack of coping skills. People really struggle with that, so then that's why they're so focused on using drugs, alcohol, committing new crimes, because they don't have the coping skills for a day-to-day basis. I think if people were more aware of the resources that we do have to meet their basic needs, that would be a huge help for them.
I think there's a perception, amongst many in the community that folks are damaged, so to speak, right? And I feel it's actually the opposite. I would say alcoholism and addiction are, one of the only diseases that you are absolutely stronger for having been through it. And so that the idea that people that are in recovery are somehow, a liability, right? I think is frankly wrong, right? And I'm not saying, you should give somebody that's, stopped drinking last week, right? That's going to be a risk, right? But for folks that have really work in a program, you're going to have some of the, most honest, decent people around, and they work hard and they care about people.
I really think that a lot of our offenders struggle with finding residence and also finding employment, and that becomes a stigma. A lot of places don't hire with a criminal background, and I think that just because they have a crime or even a couple crimes, it's check writing, something like that, versus a violent crime. It doesn't matter, they're all placed into that same box, which can be really discouraging to our offenders.
I'd like to see more, I think, work programs maybe with the school. I think that would be good if we did even a hands-on, a coffee class or a floral design class or something for students, just to kind of have a positive reinforcement and have a positive outlet for something to do. Even a work program where they come and learn how to do basic things like dust, sweep, mop, clean buckets, stuff like that. It's, just simple things like that.
What I would like to emphasize on Great Falls, right, is among the business community, right, is I do think we have a competitive advantage over a lot of other places due to the low cost of living, and that we have big hospitals, right? We have good schools, we have the colleges, right? And so to go look to businesses, especially in ag, right? I mean, I think that with, you know, our backyard stretching out, you know, to huge ranching and farming areas, of, you know, going and trying to get a big agribusiness and say, you know, why not Great Falls, right? We've got enough flights to places, you can get anywhere relatively quickly. You know, you've got your folks in, you know, Chicago. Why don't you move them out here, right? You can, you know, cut their cost of living and, you know, down to a third, right? Nicer place to raise a family. And so I don't know what those efforts are, but to really go out and target, you know, businesses and say, look, we have the infrastructure and we have the, you know, workforce, and you are with your customers. What, you know, what's the holdup, right? What can we do to make that right for you? Because we all know at the end of the day, a thriving community has to have a thriving economy underlying it.
It's just connecting those folks that maybe have lived through the harder times in Great Falls and another generation that's coming in and working to grow Great Falls and keeping those connections alive. You know, Great Falls, like any community, it's a lot bigger than people think. You kind of get in your own niche, and whether you're in downtown or have your certain areas that you hang out, you see the same group of people. So it's continuing to work together as a community to connect all 60-some thousand people that are here. So we're having the same conversation and moving in the same direction.
My plea or my suggestion is less about the institution and more about the individual. And my hope is that people start looking inside themselves and saying, is the stuff that's coming out of my mouth or the stuff that I'm typing on social media, is that harmful to other people or is it helpful to other people? And start asking themselves the question, what kind of person do I want to be? And start living that out. It's so easy these days to hide behind social media and be a troll or whatever, you know, however we're labeling these people these days. But to say just really hurtful things about our community, really hurtful things about people who are living here, and they think that it has no trickle-down effect. And it does. It really does. It creates a mindset that is negative, and it focuses on the wrong things.